Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 317, The Jolly Roger. This episode aired on April 13th, 2014. It was written by David H. Goodman and was directed by Ernest Dickerson. And this is also an episode that had commentary. This one had commentary from David H. Goodman and Colin O'Donoghue.
Love him.
We love him. And he's just hearing him talk about the show in general, because he has such a good humor about it, especially with like, I'll read some of the things that I wrote down that he said, because he just has a good humor about the stuff and the questions that are asked. But he also, much like the rest of the actors on the show, puts in a shit ton of work. So he puts in a lot of thought, which,
Gotcha.
you like to see. Before we get to that lovely recapping and chatting, let's go over a synopsis for the Jolly Roger. In the Enchanted Forest, with the Jolly Roger lost, Killian and his crew become land pirates, pillaging crews transporting goods along the roads of the Enchanted Forest. When one night, Ariel ambushes Hook, demanding to find out what happened to Eric. He was taken aboard the Jolly Roger. The only problem is, the ship now belongs to Blackbeard. Killian goes with Ariel and Smee to where the ship is ported, and Killian fights Blackbeard for control of his ship and information about Eric's whereabouts. When Blackbeard refuses, only giving up the information in return for the ship, Killian kills him rather than helping Ariel. And in Storybrooke, Emma feels that the best way for her to be able to fight Zelena is if she has better control of her magic. While Regina teaches her in a mildly effective sink-or-swim method, Ariel washes up on the shores of Storybrooke looking for Eric again. David and Mary Margaret take over looking after Henry in an attempt to be the fun grandparents they want to be, and Killian helps Ariel use a locator spell to find Eric. All throughout their adventure, he keeps the truth of their encounter during the missing year to himself, until the spell shows them what he fears, that Eric is dead. When Killian apologizes, he didn't tell her sooner. He swears he'll make it up to Ariel, swearing on the name of his love. Unbeknownst to Killian, Ariel had found Eric long ago, and they were living happily back in the Enchanted Forest outside the bounds of the curse that brought them there. And the Ariel he'd been with had been Zelena all along. Using Killian's plea for redemption, Zelena is able to curse his lips so that the next time he kisses Emma, her magic will be taken from her. If he does not comply, Zelena will kill everyone Emma loves. Yep. It was Zelena all along.
Oh my god. I mean, and the thing is, though, it's even funnier, though, because my first line the first thing I wrote down was just, okay, sexy accent, because I have issues. Everything's fine. Of course, it's Killian, seeing how everything's kind of opening up.
Yeah.
And then I just wrote, well then, this is a family show, because they rented a woman.
They got him a wench. That's the phrasing they used in the commentary. They got him a wench.
They got him a wench. And I'm like, this is a family show.
Yeah, but it's Killian. Just wait until the finale, honestly, is all I'm gonna say about that.
Series finale?
No, the season finale.
The season finale. Okay. I was like, how long am I waiting? And for, I can't say for what. I'll see. But
well, to be fair, you already know. I've already told you about the hentai joke that they make in season 4, so.
It had been enough time that was scrubbed from my brain.
Oh, I will just periodically remind you just for the fun of it, because quite frankly, that joke will never not be funny.
I had the wonderful moment of, wait, Ariel has beef with Captain Hook, and that was a sentence that was typed.
I mean, she really, she does, but she doesn't.
She does, but she doesn't know that she does.
Kind of.
Yeah.
The Ariel we see in Storybrooke is never Ariel, so she knows everything.
Yeah. I love protective Regina through all of this, and her just being kind of like, I'm in charge, and that was really enjoyable. And I really, really loved her and Emma's chemistry together. But meet me in my vault in 1 hour, and I'm like, this is the beginning of a fan fiction, or many.
It's the beginning of a lot of them.
A lot of them, and then their chemistry in the vault was really nice. But it was another moment of me just sitting here enjoying their chemistry, but also just sitting here all of the things that have been written in this room, for this room, and for this this interaction here, and I'm like, I know it exists. I'm not seeking it, but I know it's there.
Yes. Yeah, I can't say in any of the fanfic that I've written, at least not like the fanfic that's on fanfiction sites, because I think I've said this before. I don't know if I have. Most of my fanfiction from like my deep fanfic days was in the RP fandom, so that's all on Tumblr. That's all thread based stuff. So like, unless you're me, you can't find it or read it in any normal way. So I couldn't tell you how many times I had them do stuff in the vault, but none of the stuff that I currently have on AO3, and no, I will not be giving anybody my username. Because that fanfic will stay far, far, far away from me as a regular content creator. None of that has the two of them in the vault. No.
Okay. I did love the line, "I have never tried anything quite like frozen yogurt before."
It gave me the same feelings as like Grumpy's line about penicillin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. See, I love that I wrote, Ariel has beef with Captain Hook because I have some serious beef with Emma. Can she stop wanting this like life she can't have with Henry and keeping him in the dark? Like, it just pisses me off every time she opens her fucking mouth. I'm like, no, you cannot do that to your child. You cannot do that to Regina.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you really going to bring him back into Regina's, life even in any shape or form? And then be like, okay, we're leaving. Good luck. Regina just got him back, and even in the way that she did.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening, and it just pisses me off. Do I just spend this entire show pissed off with Emma? Because I feel like I'm always mad at her.
I mean, honestly, yeah, kind of. Because like I feel like I've definitely said this on the podcast before. The thing what I say about Emma, in that I call her the dysfunctional paragon kind of thing. If she thinks what she's doing is the best for everybody, and what a paragon does is they bring out the best in those around them. That's their, that's what that character trope is designed for.
Yeah.
But what she does effectively is bring out the worst in everybody around her, like unintentionally. But that's still what ends up happening. Like her action, she leans on the "I'm the savior, I know what's best" kind of thing, but you really don't. She does that all the time. So like, it's not. But also, I want to say for a lot of season 4, she is in the right. Okay. But she's also reacting to everybody else.
Gotcha. My brain, you were like, "Oh, I'm the savior," and I was like, "What if Jesus was walking around doing the same shit?" No wonder.
No wonder they killed him.
No wonder they killed him. I'm so sorry. That's what popped into my head when you said that. I'm like, can I say this? Is this wrong?
It's our podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. The spell, the protective spell Regina casts is around the house, right?
Yeah, it's like the building the apartment's on.
So Regina puts a protective spell up around the house, only for everyone to leave.
Yeah, they had things to do. That's the thing, is they had things to do.
It's a fictional show.
I hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah. No, she says it. She's like, as long as you're in this apartment, whatever, you're safe. And then they all left, including Henry. And I'm like, why are you not at least?
Well, Henry doesn't know. He knows nothing. So Henry, I don't think
Henry does.
Henry wasn't even there during that scene.
Weird. But like Snow, we know that she's after Snow's baby, and Snow's like, I'm gonna go for a walk on the beach. I'm like, go home.
It was a very cute walk on the beach with their umbrella, though.
But the smart thing to do is to stay in the protected house. But I'm talking about Snow White and
the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes, it's such a fever dream.
That's this show in a nutshell. It will never not be that.
Because then I get to go in, it's Blackbeard, isn't it? And I go, yep, called it immediately. Because I say that, I type that, and then, of course, it's Blackbeard.
Yes.
Because what pirate is it not? I mean.
Yeah, so Blackbeard is the first and only, I believe, actual historical figure that they use on the show. Because Blackbeard was a real person.
Yes, he was a real person.
He was an actual pirate. But I'm pretty sure he's the first and only historical figure that they use as a character on the show. Because I mean, he's a real person, but he's also kind of a legend, so it works. If you're gonna have pirates, I mean, it just makes sense.
You gotta have Blackbeard. I mean, they even did that with Pirates of the Caribbean. They did their whole thing, but eventually still brought in Blackbeard.
Yeah. So, look at Our Flag Means Death. That's very fictionalized, but it is based on real people.
To watch that.
It's a good show.
Have I watched anything you haven't said, is like everything you've recommended to me, I've become hooked, and it's.
I mean, I was gonna make a joke like, well, I have good taste, but here's the thing: is I'm so selective with what I watch.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have good taste. Like, I mean, there are things that I will just watch for the shits of it, like just for shits and giggles if I think it's something to watch. But like, that's not something that I'll be like, oh my god, you have to watch that. It's usually, if I say something is something to watch, that usually means it's fine. Like, you maybe you'll watch an episode here, an episode there. Maybe you won't. Like, maybe you'll watch 5 in one go and then you won't watch it again for months. Like, that's when I say something to watch. That's what that is.
Or it's Katie who is told, this is a good show, you should watch it, and binges it all in less than a week.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't.
Well,
I
Ghost
could not have
is amazing. Okay,
I could not have anticipated you getting through Ghost as quickly as you did.
Because I didn't either.
That was because, again, that was a show that I really liked, but I watched it in bursts. Like, I would watch like a season all at once and then not watch it for like weeks on end.
I love it. I'm obsessed. But I also we've established I really love Tinkerbell.
Yes, this is true.
I love Rose. She's so good. She's so amazing. I need to find the rest of her work and actually watch it too. But I mean, I saw Tinkerbell in Once Upon a Time and went, I have to go watch all of iZombie before it leaves Netflix. And succeeded.
You did.
I did that. And now it's one of my favorite shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get to harp on you about finishing Ted Lasso because Ted Lasso destroys you and also heals you in like the same sitting. So I'm giving you your own time with that. Yeah. But you do have to finish one day so I can talk more about it. I don't want to spoil things.
No, I know, and I appreciate it.
I'm rewatching it.
No, I appreciate it. And I don't remember who it was that asked me this, because someone asked, it might have been you, but it was like, what will it take to get you to watch a show? Like, and my response
probably me.
Probably was. My response was hot women. And like,
that was me. Yeah.
Okay, it was you. Okay. Because I was thinking about this the other day because my best friend has been trying to get me to watch Severance for months.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
I watched the first episode when I was at her place a long time ago, and like, it was interesting enough, but it was like it was the first episode was kind of slow going, and they just announced, or they sent out pictures and stuff for season 2. Gwendolyn Christie is in season 2, so immediately I started going back to watching Severance.
Okay, but Ted Lasso has Hannah Waddingham, so that's where I'm just kind of like, oh, finish.
But that, like, it does, but that's also a case of I know it's gonna make me cry, and I don't want it to be over. So I'm like in this limbo phase of just never finishing.
It's like when you pick up a really good book that you didn't realize you're gonna be obsessed with, but you don't want to finish it because you're not ready for it to end. It's so good. I've been feeling I'm gonna be like that with Once Upon a Time, even though this whole time, you know, almost to the end of the third season, and I'm just always like, this is a fucking fever dream. But then we're gonna hit like what, the 6th season? I'm like, no, please don't.
7th.
Please. Okay, but we've had discussion about how the 7th season is a little.
No, but
different.
here's the thing is, though, the 7th season, I think, given how you feel about the show, I think with proper mitigation of expectations, because I will help you be there, I will help you have the right expectations, and given how you feel about the show, I think you're gonna be okay with season 7. It's gonna feel it's gonna feel different, but I personally don't think it's bad. I don't think it's badly written. I think it's just different.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. The fandom would disagree with me, but that's their problem.
We're just going to move on to, we're not making tapas, we're making magic.
Yes, because the book was in half Elvish.
Yeah.
That was a choice. Half Elvish specifically. Is that a different language in Tolkien?
I mean, I'm laughing only a little bit because in a lot of fantasy stuff, you have elves and then half elves, which are taller than hobbits. So, are they the half elves that I'm thinking?
I don't know.
I did like a little reading doesn't sound so bad now.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I was a big fan of, what are you doing? Making the bridge collapse. Okay. Like, honey.
I was just chilling, thinking, all right, Hook and Blackbeard are gonna fight for the Jolly Roger. Fucking Christ. And I just can't believe I'm saying the sentences that I am. I start speaking and I'm like, this is real.
Yep, it's a TV show.
It is. And I just wrote, LOL, pirates are so silly. I was in a mood during
You were. It was a really cool battle, like the way they filmed the whole sword bank scene.
It was done so well.
It was done so well. And so the point when Hook like flicks up the sword, like he kicks it and catches it, Colin when he was like, oh, I'm so glad I left it in. I only got that once, and they left it in. He was so proud of himself. He did it. So I can only imagine how many times he tried.
He did such a good job, though.
But like, kudos on him for doing it, getting it, and sticking with the scene, because we have bloopers, I think, from season 4 of him with a dartboard. And so he's just supposed to be throwing darts. Like the whole point, like the darts, like they're gonna cut the bullseye in. That's what they did with Graham also. Like they're not gonna make him get a bullseye, but the shot's like from the back of his head. But it's him throwing the dart, and I guess he gets a bullseye, so he just immediately like turns around, going like, "Oh, who saw that?" So like, kudos to him, knowing his propensity for being proud of himself, which he should be. But given that propensity, I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of him for getting the sword flick and staying in the scene.
He did. Oh God. So we're gonna go from I really love Killian, and he made a mistake in this. I love him. I get why he did what he did. He's morally gray for a reason. I'm actually not mad at Killian for that, because like it's very fitting to his personality.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a pirate. Like that's very fitting. He did exactly what I expected him to do.
And so you got exactly what the writers were trying to convey.
Exactly. Like it didn't bother me. Charming, on the other hand,
the truck
is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he is.
How old is Henry?
12.
No, a 12-year-old. No,
not on a busy road. Here's the thing: it's not on a busy road.
Like, there's that little age gap where, like, in the country, not on a road, you sometimes put your kid in your lap and they get to pretend type situation when they're little. And then you have this long gap where they just beg to be in the front seat, and you got to tell them, no, you're not tall enough yet, which, was until I was like 16. And and then you reach, 15, where you're allowed to learn how to drive. Before Charming's from the Enchanted Forest. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I just was so mad. Like,
he's so bent out of shape at not being the cool grandpa. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's just too funny.
It's hilarious. I was so mad, but then I got even more mad when the moms find out.
Well, Regina, so the thing is, she has to be very careful with how she reacts. As you saw, her reaction was like, you let him. She did the very immediate mom response, and then she did the correct response. She did the correct response, and then she has to backtrack because Henry doesn't know that she raised him for 10 years. So she has to backtrack into the, as mayor, I can't be letting, under what I wrote it down. Hang on. Yeah, as mayor, I can't let an unlicensed underage driver on the streets of Storybrooke. Like she has to backtrack for that scene to make sense. And then you have her going after Charming. Like it's a very, I get it, but I love the dynamic with Regina and the Charmings now, though, because they've worked through their issues and now it's just family bickering.
But like Emma just sitting there and smiling and laughing.
I mean,
while Regina's being mom,
she stole it. I'm just gonna say this: Emma stole a car at 16.
I know, but
she stole the bug at 16. She tried to steal the bug at 16.
She pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit there and be like, I'm his mom. I'm going to take him away and take him back to his normal life. And then laugh and giggle at the fact that he crashed a truck.
All he hit was a mailbox.
That's illegal.
I mean, I know, but like, again, it's Storybrooke.
There's so many illegal things that happened in this, like, 3 minutes.
A, it's Storybrooke, and B, David is the sheriff.
Yeah, I still don't think he could actually get away with that. But I'm like, I'm the sheriff. I can let a kid drive.
But I mean, this is also in the realm of it's a fantasy show, because Storybrooke is an entity that is unknown to the rest of the world.
I still think they're dumb. Like
they're
I guess
very
they're
dumb.
all the I guess Emma's including now the Charmings. Like
they're the charming idiots.
Regina has the correct response.
Yes.
Of like that is a mother who's like, you let my kid do what? And then I did really love her like going after David.
Yeah, he's just walking away.
What did you do?
Yeah, like he's walking away, and she's like, "I am not done talking to you.
I am not done with you." So I really did love the scene. It's a great scene. I'm just sitting here as the mom of like, I agree with Regina. Regina's correct. Emma, what the fuck? And then the not Ariel. That's not Ariel. Oh, I just really went all caps. Wait, that's not Ariel. Oh shit. Goddamn Zelena. Like,
yeah,
that hurt. That hurt. That hurt a lot.
That was a really good use of that skill, because So apparently from what I got from the commentary, JoAnna, the main direction she got for most of the episode was just play it as if this is Ariel. Like, don't play the underlying knowing that you're Zelena in disguise the entire time. And she does that basically until the very end. I think I pinpointed, where was it? Basically, as soon as she starts saying, swear this woman who broke your heart, that's where I start seeing Zelena peek through. And then that little smirk she gives right before she shifts. Because, like, Zelena will pretend to be multiple people throughout this show. So it's always it's fun to, but it's, sorry, I think I wrote down who, but I'm not going to say because A, won't make sense and a couple of them are spoilers. But, like, the other actors are so good at getting really Zelena Bex's whatever signature smirk that Zelena has right before it shifts into Zelena again. Like it's we see that every time. But it's like JoAnna did such a good job with this because with that scene specifically, because up until then she was just playing Ariel with the way that she should. But that scene, like, because that's that last scene on the docks is really where she is melding Zelena, getting impatient with what's happening here, trying to speed things up and trying to get what she wants across.
Yeah.
With Ariel still having to pretend to be Ariel. Because it's fun watching actors, play their characters, but it's really a different actor's character pretending to be yours. So you're playing like 3 different layers there. It's always really fun to watch that.
She did, just in that little smirk, she did, like, better than I feel like the Peter Pan thing did. Because I think that was just the awkwardness of how old he was.
Yeah, that was still a case, I think, with Jared and Robbie. Their ages were just a little too different.
Yeah, like he tried, and he did a good job for what he tried to do.
Yeah, he did. And I stand by. I think Jared did a better job being Pan in Henry's body. That was also a different case. They're not necessarily pretending to be someone else pretending to be them.
Yeah,
because like the ones, because Jared had to do that. He very briefly he had to be Cora pretending to be Henry for 30 seconds, which I thought he did a great job with that because he only had a couple lines anyway. But I think with the pretending to be the other character in your body, I stand by. Jared did a better job at selling it than Robbie did.
But Robbie was trying to get in the headspace of someone younger is can be a little.
It's harder, awkward. But also I stand by the writing with some of those lines because I remember we did talk about that line of like if you shoot him with a fireball, can you avoid my face? That's not a line that we would really hear Henry at that age say, not yet at least.
That's a Peter Pan line.
That's a Peter Pan line. That's something of Robbie K's visage. That's what someone of that age would say, not an 11-year-old. Like that's more along the lines of like what we'd see Henry say in season 5, I would say. Like that's very good for that age and what he looks like then. But it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to play that many layers to your character. So I don't have a whole lot of fun facts that aren't commentary notes. There's some things here, but it's all kind of mixed together because some of the fun facts I pulled out ended up being stuff that was in the commentary anyway. But I do want to talk a little bit about our guest star in this episode, Blackbeard. That is Charles Measure, I think is how you say his name, I believe. I don't know. So Blackbeard is one of those characters that he was written kind of as a one-off thing, but he's a thing of they liked him. He did a really good job. So they'll keep finding ways to bring him into the stories here and there. So this is not the last time we see him for the show or for the season.
I love when people die and you're like, this isn't the last time you're going to see him.
But he actually doesn't. Because the thing is, he doesn't die because Ariel says she was able to save him or at least get to him.
Yeah, you're right.
Get to him to get the information. So he not dead. But so but he's a case
lot happened in this episode.
A lot happened in this episode. Or I guess Zelena says that Ariel was able to get to him. It's inferred that he's still alive. Otherwise, Ariel wouldn't have found Hangman's Island. But Charles Measure, he plays Blackbeard. I loved that this Blackbeard was more like modeled after like Disney Peter Pan Hook, but also he had a lot more of like the affectations and mannerisms of like Dustin Hoffman Hook. I felt like it was a good mixture with as much eyeliner as Colin O'Donoghue, because I feel like if you're going to have 2 big pirate captains, you do need to like have them like on equal measure with the guy liner.
Yes, and I will say the guy liner makes sense on pirates.
It does. It does. So Charles, he's an actor. He's born in England and he moved to Australia when he was 5. He's done a lot of work on various soap operas and dramas all over the place. He appeared in Xena Warrior Princess, which I think most actors from Australia, New Zealand of that era, it's like Law & Order SVU. Everyone was on Xena.
Yeah.
Or Hercules.
I miss Xena. Xena was so good.
He was on Lost. He was on Bones. He was on V, Desperate Housewives, Criminal Minds.
All right.
Yeah, right? And currently he's appearing on General Hospital. I did actually ask my mother, because she watches that. I was like, is he still on the show, or did he get killed off or something? She's like, no, he's still on. They might kill him, but he's still on. I'm like, okay, that's all I need.
Like, he's Blackbeard.
You never know. Well, because the episodes were out of order, so I just looked at the bottom of the list, and it said August, so I figured he wasn't on the show anymore. She's like, oh no, he was on yesterday. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay then.
Yeah. So this was in the commentary, but I think this is just a funny scene because it just makes sense. So the magic lesson scene when Emma floats up to the top with the pieces of the broken bridge, they originally wrote it in the script that she was going to basically conjure a dragon and ride that up. And and they collectively, after they're like, maybe this is pushing the limits of what her magic can do at the very beginning. Like, maybe that's a bit much. Just a little bit, going from nothing to dragon. And that also just implies that dragons can be conjured when they are in fact like physical beings that you can't just make out of thin air.
Yeah. Mythical creatures spanning across history.
Given the fact that Mal is a dragon with that lore, it just wouldn't make any sense. So
am I disappointed I didn't get dragon? A little bit. What you're saying makes sense.
Yes. So no dragon. So they did change it to like, I guess like a cluster of vines was what they were saying. But then eventually they just kind of gave it to the visual effects people. We're like, this is what we're thinking, but if you can come up with something better, just, go and do that.
Thank you, visual design people.
And they came up with the right choice, which is using the pieces of the fallen bridge as the platform that raises her up.
Which makes sense.
That makes sense. It's using your environment. All that good stuff.
Thank goodness for them.
Yeah, right. Hangman's Island is a real place. It is a real island located near Boston.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like, I like when they use using that as a real place, using Blackbeard, who's a real historical figure. It makes sense. It completes the verisimilitude that is this episode and this world. And this is, this was also in the commentary, but it was in the fun facts that I wrote down. Colin constantly injuring himself.
Oh God, what did he do this time?
So when he kicks the door in after his first talk with Ariel in the tavern, he broke the door twice. And then he has to kick the table to wake up Smee. He thought he had broken his foot. Yep. He didn't, but he thought he did.
This man, I swear.
But apparently, though, with the Ariel getting to slap him twice, which again, I like those little parallels of stuff that happens in both storylines. Unfortunately for Colin, it is him getting slapped in the face. JoAnna had never slapped an actor on camera before, so she didn't really know what to do to make it not hurt. And so he just said, just go for it. So that was then her slapping him about 10 to 12 times full force, I'm guessing. One time she actually got him on the neck, not on the cheek.
Have you ever seen the story from It Ends With Us about that slap?
I have not.
Okay, so it's relative, I promise, but I think It Ends With Us. This is the end.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My brain. So the end, not the end. The main slap in what did I just say?
This is the end?
Yeah, something like that. I think that's the movie. Let me double check. I think that's the movie. I have brain fog.
It's fine.
Yes, okay. It is the correct movie. This is the end. So Michael Cera, of course, is like a side character in it. Rihanna's in it. And apparently behind the scenes, Rihanna has to slap Michael Cera. And he was just like, hey, I'll let you slap me for real if you let me slap your ass. And she's like, okay, but I'm slapping you for real. And they did it a couple of times, but the last take, you can hear that slap. That is not Foleyed. She smacked his ass so hard. But he asked for, they were consenting adults. But the agreement was, she's like, I'll let you smack my ass, but I'm going to smack you for real. I just need to send you the clip of the smack from the movie, and you will understand.
Okay.
But yeah, Michael Cera has been slapped multiple times across the face by Rihanna.
Okay, so good for him.
That made me think of that. Or she did. She's like, I'll let you, but you're going to get hurt.
No, I felt what they were saying in the commentary, because Davey was like, we saw the dailies as they were being sent down to LA. It's like, and we saw it. Yeah, you getting slapped about 10 to 12 times. We're like, glad they enjoyed themselves that day.
I'm glad. I mean, not many people get to say that they get to slap certain people in their work. Like, I mean, if that could be in my job description, I think my job would go swimmingly.
I think so too.
For reference, I'm a bartender.
All right, so I wanted to go through some of my notes, and the usual with the commentary. I'll try and mix in commentary as I talk about my own notes, just because these episodes always end up long. But the first line that I wrote down while they were building the crib was take screws E with washers D through bar C using wrench F, which is not provided. It's a shitty build kit.
And like, what do you mean wrench? You should have the wrench. That's like the tool.
The wrench. The wrench should be of all the things that should be provided. That should be it. But I love that dynamic. Again, it's still that family dynamic with them, especially after Regina like does her thing of meet me in my vault 1 hour, and so you have Emma talking to her parents just about all of this, and it's like no complaining. I'm doing this, and yes, I'll be careful. We know. Don't worry, we'll watch Henry when he gets back from the store. Actually, I'm not sure that's the best idea. What? Why? What is it? Well, you guys are tired. You need to rest. I'm pregnant. I'm not sick with the flu. Yeah, I know. It's just, well, it's Cradle Cap. Last time you guys had him, you overwhelmed him with baby tips. He's 12. He doesn't want to talk about pregnancies. It's not fun. Oh, we're fun. I'm just saying maybe Henry disagrees. No. You get there. You gotta remember, he doesn't know who you are. Well, if we're not fun, then who is? Which then cuts right into Captain Hook. I like that, continuation of the line. And as did Colin. He also enjoyed that in the commentary, but it's that dynamic of like we're not fun, then who is, as they're trying to build a crib. And their solution, as we said, not the best solution. But when I was watching that scene though, I was reminded of a meme, and I'll see if I can find it, but I don't even know how I would search for it. But it was it was dialogue over shots of that scene of them all talking. And the premise of it was Snow saying, they were trying to figure out what to watch for movie night. And Snow said when they watch movies, when people are swimming, she likes to hold her breath to see if she can survive the same conditions. And Regina's response is, well, I know what we're watching for movie night. Finding Nemo.
Oh my God.
I wish some of these memes, I wish I could find them. There's no way to search for that. There's times and places when I can search for certain things. I was very lucky when I found that picture of the notes from that scene that I mentioned months after that episode had come out, but still I found it. That was luck and me just scrolling through my old Tumblr. There's no way to search for this type of meme, but it's very
now
funny.
We know you just need to go through your Tumblr and save this for that and this for this, and just it would take you forever.
I never have enough time. It's never gonna happen.
No. Well, you're bored at work.
Yeah,
maybe.
Need
to move your mouse from time to time. Let's check out the old Tumblr. Who doesn't check out their old Tumblr from time to time? I still have mine.
Occasionally. I still have access to it.
I still post mine sometimes.
Nice.
Tumblr hasn't died yet, somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. I was saying before with JoAnna, she was told to play, most of the episode fairly straight, as if Ariel is Ariel in... Yes, I
Sorry.
But I have a comment about that later.
Okay.
Straight as in Ariel being Ariel, not pretending to be... no inklings that it could be Zelina, because I love the line of, we thought you've been turned into a monkey. A monkey? No, I'm a girl who turns into a fish, because their version of Ariel is very literal.
Mm-hmm.
She understands nothing, because this is an Ariel that hasn't spent any time on land, so she doesn't understand. Ariel in the animated movie also doesn't understand a whole lot, but she can't speak for most of the movie, so we can't hear her say things like that.
Now, if we had her inner monologue, it'd be a party.
That would be fun.
That would be hilarious.
But I love with this episode. This episode, it's a lot of character background, it's context. A lot of what they said in the commentary was that this episode was a break kind of from the main plot until the very end when you see how it connects to the greater storyline. But it feels more like it's room to breathe, and it's context, and it's not super plot focused.
Killian, who can complain?
It's Killian. It's not super plot focused, and that's what that's what they wanted. They wanted it to feel, because if you have so much plot, everything's going to get kind of tiresome after a while. But I liked with Killian in the Enchanted Forest part of this, with his almost manic nature for getting the ship back, because so much of it is he's not willing to admit what leaving Emma felt like. He's not willing to admit that he loved her out loud, even though that's until the very end, obviously. But he's part of what he's looking for is he's looking to return to the man that he was, because that's the man who didn't love Emma, and it would feel easier. But the Jolly Roger, I wrote this down. Jolly Roger is more than a ship to him. It's the home that he shared with Liam at one point, and then Mila, the only two people he's loved before Emma. It's his home, whether he's willing to admit it or not.
Mm-hmm. It made perfect sense that he wanted the Jolly Roger back.
Yep.
100%.
Mm-hmm. He's prone to violence, impulsive, and has a hook for a hand. What about that would a 12-year-old boy not like?
Honestly.
But I loved in the last scene, and I didn't notice this until the second go around when I watched it. Colin, as soon as Henry walks in, Colin very specifically puts his left hand behind his back, like under the jacket. And like he made a point, he's like, I did that because, Henry can't see the hook. Like that was like, they tried to like have a bit written in where you actually see him do it, but like it just didn't work. But in that greater scene though, they very intentionally never have him in a 2-shot with another actor. You always see him watching everything else happening, but it's just him by himself once the whole family's in the loft. Gotcha. So like they're intentionally using like, you don't see him in a 2-shot until he's in the hallway. Like that's when you see him and Emma together in 1 shot, which that's very interesting. I like when like directors will do that. Like that's like they're using the visual. They're using nothing's by accident. Everything is on purpose. So I liked that we got to see that. And I like that they talked about that because I was like, oh, that's very smart. Good job, creative people. We appreciate this. But what I was saying before about the Ariel straight joke, Belle looking at Ariel and that head grab is the least heterosexual thing ever.
Yep.
Like it's we have thoughts, and unfortunately it wasn't actually Ariel, it was Lena, but again, I'd be okay with that too. It's it's one redhead for another. We're basically interchangeable. So. There's so few of us.
Okay, but you are not interchangeable. I don't know another redhead that can do what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Wait, what color is Brianna's hair?
She's a brunette.
Okay, never mind.
I had to think for something like, wait, who are you talking about? No, she might be the only one who can replace me. This is true.
But she's not a redhead.
She's not a redhead. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's one of our patrons. Who is basically a de facto producer, except she doesn't get paid.
At this point.
She helps us with so many things.
Now Lauren's trying to figure out where she is in her notes.
I am. No, but when they get to the Jolly Roger, that part, when he's talking about the ship and everything, they just go, you do realize you're talking about a boat. You have your love, I have mine.
Oh my god, yes.
But that's
that's such a pirate thing.
Yes, it's such a pirate thing, but also it just, the ships that were Killian with the Jolly Roger, like, people would write as like human versions, like the essence of the Jolly Roger in a human form, kind of like that episode of Doctor Who where you have the TARDIS being like the essence of the TARDIS being put in Sharon Jones, that kind of thing.
Yes,
like people wrote that. So like it just, I'm like, it's like Hook floor all over again. It's Hook Jolly. I don't know what you want to consider that one, but that would be Jolly Jones. That's their ship. There was never a ship name for it, not an official one that I can remember. But yeah, Jolly Jones.
It sounds like. Oh my god!
I love it.
Sorry, I hear Jolly and I keep thinking Santa Claus. I'm like, are we shipping Captain
Christmas.
Hook and Santa Claus together? Like, I wouldn't put it past this show.
Now I'm just thinking about Colin playing Santa Claus in something.
The fever dream continues.
It continues.
That's all I know.
So back into the episode. So I wrote this, cursing Killian's lips, Zelina, the original Captain Swan shipper, because she's so certain that that's going to happen. This will get her what she wants.
That's so fucked up.
That scene is so cool though. The way that they do it, because it's a tennis match. The way they kind of described it was like, she's throwing out like, oh, your lips are cursed. She's like, but she's not going to kiss me. But I can just kill her. But you can't, because if you could, you would have by now. And it's like, but I can hurt everybody else. And now he's got a conundrum. And now he has a real secret. But I wrote down, Zelina is so unhinged. I was like, because so much of what she says about other people, she does herself.
Yeah.
Because everyone like, babe, the hook can hurt you. Because her whole thing of like, your hook may be able to scratch a mere mortal. I'm like, honey, you're not a god or immortal, but I do love that Zelina has a tendency to call people out on the exact thing she does as well, like with the line of, enough with the martyr complex, Regina. Try growing up without a mother. Try living in Oz. Like, enough with the martyr complex. Allow me to martyr myself. And then what she said to Emma in the last episode, someone's got an inflated sense of self-worth. This entire conversation about how the hook...
She's just projecting 24/7.
She is. She really is projecting 24/7. But and she believes her own bullshit, which she can't... I mean, to be a villain, you kind of have to. But like...
Oh, yeah.
She's, like I said, she's unhinged in the best possible way. Like, if she wasn't this unhinged, this would not be as enjoyable to watch, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Basically, anytime they talk about anything in this episode, Colin then interjects with how cold it was while they were filming. Just the entire time.
He's me!
Every time. Because like one point at the very beginning when they talk about that very first scene, he's like, yeah, I think you can see a little bit of my red nose with how cold it was that night. It was like they were filming at like 5 a.m. But that night, the night before, obviously before the helmet comes up and you can see it's him, is credited as the Iron Knight. That's what they called him.
Okay.
And they did actually talk about having them be on another ship. They had them like, just the Dolly is lost. Let's go to another ship. But they liked the idea that they would try and become land pirates, otherwise just known as bandits.
Land ship. I can't help it.
We had an entire Bob's episode called Land Ship, and I did not scream this as many times as you did.
Okay, but he's like my favorite character.
I'm just saying.
Thorfinn. Also, hearing his normal voice like jarred me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, because he's just a regular guy. He's not.
He is just a regular guy.
He's not a Viking. Well,
it fucked with me a little bit.
For context, I need the actor's name. Hang on.
Because I sent you the thing on YouTube.
Yeah, no,
I had seen it or not.
Yeah, I had seen that before. So for context, we're talking about Thorfinn, the character from Ghosts on CBS, who's played by Devin Chandler Long.
He looks like a Viking.
He does look like a Viking. I don't disagree with you.
And I have an attraction to those people.
I mean, he is a Viking. The character is a Viking.
Have you seen my husband?
I have. I have seen your husband. We're talking about Colin O'Donoghue right now. Talking about an Irishman here.
Okay, I'm attracted to him too.
I know you are.
I have problems.
I know. We all do. We all do. This has been us the entire time.
It has.
So when they were talking about with what Hook is trying to hide in this episode of No, he's hiding things from people in various times in the timeline. But they were saying it's interesting that as it's on the page, the script is quite serious. But at this point, Hook is having a hard time here because he's in love with Emma and he doesn't think that's going to go anywhere, even though he's still kind of doing that thing of like, making everything kind of about him. But he also wrestles with the fact that he doesn't belong in this town, but he doesn't want to leave either. It's a constant push and pull for him because he's in a hard place. He can't show his weakness to Emma because he has this facade to keep up around people. So Smee is kind of the only person he can take it out on.
Poor Smee. In like every fan, like in every.
No, I know, but this is just extra lovely on top of everything else because Chris Gauthier, who played Smee, passed away a few months ago. The two of them, Colin and Dave, had nothing but the kindest things to say to him, say about him. Because he was another case of he's a character that, you write into an episode because you need it. And if you have Captain Hook, you have to have Smee. That's a necessity.
Yeah.
So, they write him in as soon as they can. And it's one of those things of maybe it's a one-off, maybe, it works really well and you put him into more things. But he was a case of he came in, he did really well. It all worked really well. Him and Colin had good chemistry, which is what you need. And they just keep writing him into the show whenever they can. So it's lovely, but extra lovely now with context because he passed away a few months ago. I think it was maybe about a year ago or so.
That's so sad.
Yeah. But he I love in the commentary whenever you have the actors or anyone just gushing about the other actors on screen. That always makes me feel good because this is a set that it feels like they liked each other. You've watched stuff with Ghosts. You can tell that cast loves each other and you kind of have to
so much,
especially when you're up anywhere that's not home because Ghosts filmed in Montreal, this filmed in Vancouver. When you're away from everything, you need that camaraderie or else you're going to go insane. So it's good to see that camaraderie and see all that come out, which we would like to see. But Colin did say on top of the frustration things, Hook is putting in this season an awful lot of effort with Emma, and I don't know why he hasn't just walked away. That was, they said that because he puts in a lot of effort. They're but this is more effort than Hook has ever put into anything. Is the implication there?
Yeah.
So why does he keep? But it's obviously we know there's an end game to it.
Mila happily went with him.
Yeah,
you have to work for that.
Yeah, Mila is a long game situation that we don't entirely get to see because the only points of their relationship that we get to see, so we saw in the crocodile, we saw right before she leaves, and we see everything else in the crocodile. But we're gonna see the night that they meet, and there's probably 2 years in between each, is my best guess.
Okay.
So it's a long game of she's not willing to leave her family yet, but he does keep coming back. Kind of thing. The prop though with the knife that has the BB on it, they didn't really know how to kind of get that image in. Like they had the prop, they knew that was the reveal. They didn't really know how to do that. So Colin said he's trying to figure out what to do with the prop. He's like, we have a table, and automatically knives should go into tables. Like that was just his decision, just stab the knife into the table. I think that works the best, personally.
It's very pirate.
It is very pirate, and it's a good way to show that visual. So, I just wrote down at one point he should rename the Jolly Roger Emma, the Jolly Swan.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everything they say are gems, but I write them down anyway. And I'm also, for context, I'm not reading. Here's the thing with the commentary. If this is the first episode you're listening to, that was an episode that had audio commentary, because there's between 4 and 5 per season. I think season 5 might only have 3. The later seasons don't have as many. This one only had 4. But for context, I write down nearly everything they say.
Not surprised.
It's because I think it gives me more to work with, and then I can pare it down after that.
At this point, you just need the transcripts of each one.
Basically, but it's more fun for me this way. So, but yeah, I write down everything they say. I don't tell Katie everything that they say, because that would be an hour of just reading what's on these notes. So if you do want to see this, join our Patreon, because that gives you access to our notes. Link is in the show notes. So they're saying this episode felt very different, not just from the season in general, because this is a more characterless plot, but it's just the fact that this is probably the first time that we've really seen like someone who's in the fray of everything happening, who knows exactly what happened. Like in season 1, obviously Regina had her memories, but she wasn't in the conversations as people were trying to do things. Like she was actively trying to stop them from doing things, but like she wasn't like in the thing. Like not like Colin is like, or not like Hook is like actively keeping something from Ariel. At least he thinks he is. But like season 1, no remember their original lives. But this episode, Hook knows exactly what happened, and we're charting as the episode's going what he's giving up and what he isn't, which is always like it's a more fun dynamic. I feel like to follow that way.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed the way they told that story.
Yeah,
100%.
Back in Regina's vault, the thing that Emma picks up, the monkey paw looking thing. So in the script, this is a case of they didn't put an item in the script. They just put in Emma picks up a magical totem, and they let the production designer do whatever he wanted, and that's what he came up with. They're like, we love when we don't give them specifics. We just let them figure stuff out for themselves, because sometimes they come up with better ideas than we would have. Which,
true,
yeah, sometimes that's the case. But back to what you were saying before about Colin and about Hook's choices with this episode, and obviously that him picking his ship over getting the information for Ariel. They said this, like a lot of what Colin, he's like people give Hook a lot of grace on this show, but he's a pirate. What do you expect?
Yeah, he's and, like, not changing everything he's doing.
Exactly, like
suddenly
there's still there's a selfishness that we haven't seen in him in a while, and he said, Hook has light and dark. He's doing everything he can to be as open with everyone, kind of. But as opposed to being completely selfish like he was last season when we met him, but he's trying to change. And if you can imagine hundreds of years of living as this person, it's a hard thing to change, like hundreds of years of living a certain way.
Development takes time.
It does take time, which is also why I feel like that's the similar important thing of, of him wanting that ship. He wants the totem of who he was before Emma came in and fucked with his life, basically. So it makes sense.
Helped with that, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But so the scene that they were in the forest when they were walking towards the Jolly Roger. So apparently, Smee has an axe with him. Apparently, like it's like a small axe, not like a pickaxe like we see with the dwarves.
Yeah.
But apparently, Chris was just thrilled to have an axe as part of his props, because apparently during the scene Colin said he would pull out his sword and Chris would have his axe, and they would like hack away with stuff in the forest.
Sounds right.
Which sounds like men when you give them pointy objects. However, unfortunately, apparently the axe that Chris was given was plastic, so he took a chunk out of it at one point.
Good job.
I love men. I love men.
In moments like that.
Yeah. In Gold Shop, apparently, when he gets his spyglass, which makes perfect sense. That makes sense as to what he would find, what he would use in this episode. But originally what they wrote in was that he finds his cutlass again, but then Steve Perlman, who's one of the executive producers, and he runs, I think, the production department, he's like, he already has that. Make him find something else. Because he does already have his cutlass.
But that's a very, very smart choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense for him to find that for that scene, but then later on at the very end, when you have him just kind of creepily watching them from across the street. So
morally gray character.
Morally gray. One of the lines, one of the things they said that I wrote down, Colin, it's when they asked about the confusion when they find out that Eric is dead. Like, how do you play that? And he said it's confusion, that he's scared, that he doesn't want people to know what happened, but it's also guilt. He's racked with guilt over the decision he made. And then he kept going. He went, the trick is to think about what you want for dinner, and then you can pretend to have any emotion.
I love him.
We love these are the acting classes of Colin O'Donoghue. Think about what you want for dinner. But I did love, they talked a little bit about the layers of the set that was the Jolly Roger at the port, because the alley and the tavern, that's all a physical set. That's a 100% physical set that they have.
Love that.
That alley, you will see that it's the same alley in front of every tavern. It's all the same, but they just redress it. It's, it works out just fine. But with that, the boat being, I mean, you have the green screen that is the, the ocean or the town, depending on what angle you're going. But the ship is real. They rebuilt that ship on a soundstage, and the dock is real. So you already have that depth from the green stage that helps the whole thing look even cooler. And you can play through all the different places in the, you can look through any angle of the Jolly Roger.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a physical set. They've built the mast, the sails, the rigging. You can film everything through it. So it makes it really, really cool to watch. And Colin's exact words with the sword flip was, you feel like a badass when you get to flick a sword and you actually catch it. It's one of those moments that I'm really proud of myself. And I'm like,
you should be.
He should be, because they're filming that. It's so many takes of that sequence from every angle, and you have to do it. He says 6 to 7 hours of sword fighting under the heat of those lights. He's like, it's the kind of make-believe thing that you dream about when you think about being an actor when you're a kid. But it's, it's taxing. It's physically taxing. But then this was one of the times where Colin was just having fun for no reason. Dave asked him, what's it like to follow a non-existent cloak? And his response was, oh, it's wonderful.
I just want to sit and have coffee with this man and just let him speak.
Well, I mean, I think
I don't have any questions. Just, I want to listen.
I mean, I feel like the whole thing sums up Colin O'Donoghue in a nutshell. When he he still has the TikTok. He doesn't use it, but when he was using it to promote that play that he was in, he would number his TikToks like captain's logs. Every single one of them was TikTok number 7. But he was simultaneously putting in so much effort, but also no effort. It felt like is someone, holding you hostage and making you do this? It's what it felt.
Sounds like.
Yeah. That's what I felt. It was just fun. But that's just everything about his personality of I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna do something. Here you go. So do you want to go over scores, and I'll go through last few commentary?
We do that.
We gotta do that before I go through the rest of the commentary notes.
We do that. It's been a night.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 30.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay.
It's so
yeah.
I just had a lot of fun with it because I like Hook. I like this character. There were a lot of fun moments in this episode. And I got a little bit bored, just a little bit, with the whole Ariel storyline. And then it's not Ariel.
Yeah.
And so the Zelina reveal just had me sitting here holy shit, that just made the episode so much better than I realized. And when I went to scoring, I was just kind of sitting here I couldn't, 30. It's nice. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Nice.
So nice.
It's a good episode. Yeah,
well, it's just after Peter Pan, it's so nice. Every few episodes, I'm this was good.
Yeah, right. Well, it's I think here until the end of the season, they have a good balance of we're not going to have another situation where the tower, nothing happened, followed by Quiet Minds, everything happened. I think
everything
after 16 through the end of the season, they have a good balance in each episode. But this season is the first of the true 2-part finales. Last season, they considered it 2 parts, but it aired over 2 weeks. This last one, 21 and 22, which is Snowdrifts and There's No Place Like Home. Those aired at once as a 2-hour special.
Oh.
So that, as opposed to, okay, this is the thing with the 2-part episodes with Once Upon a Time. It's a clusterfuck, and I'm going to learn to rant about it for about 5 seconds. So the finales going forward are always 2-hour finales. They always were. So but they're 2 episodes, but you have cases where it's called part 1 and part 2 in some cases. This one was Snowdrifts and There's No Place Like Home. Season 4 is a part 1, part 2. Season 5 is Only You and An Untold Story. Season 6 is another part 1, part 2, and then I don't remember the titles for season 7, but they're different titles. But here's my thing. When we get to this for season 4, 408, Smash the Mirror, aired as a singular 2-hour episode. I don't know why. I don't know what the context behind that was. I'm not mad about it. It aired as a singular 2-hour episode on Wikipedia, on IMDb, or not. Actually, no, IMDb is incorrect. On Wikipedia, it's one episode, because if that was 2 episodes, then Souls of the Departed 512 wouldn't be the 100th episode. That defeats the purpose. So we that alters what the 100th episode actually is. It aired as 1 episode. Every streaming service has Smash the Mirror Part 1 is 408 and Smash the Mirror Part 9 is 409. We're not doing that. They're 2 parts of one. It's much like the finales. They're 2 parts of one story.
Okay.
So when we get there, that's gonna be another extra long episode for us, because it's gonna be 2 hours worth of content. But like, you need to watch.
We love when there's hours of content to work off of.
But like, the thing is that needs to be watched as 1 episode. Like, at least for our purposes, it's one 2-hour long story. It's a movie's worth of content.
It's like watching the Bob's Burgers has a 2-parter called The Bleakening. Mm-hmm. That's like watching that's like watching the other 2-parter you've seen.
Yeah.
With Bob's. That finale.
They have to be together.
You have to put that together. You cannot watch part 1 and then not watch part 2.
Exactly. I never actually gave my score. I went on my rant about 2-part finales.
Oh, yeah.
So I gave it an 8 for plot. There's not a whole lot of plot in this episode. It's funny, but there's not a whole lot of plot in this episode. It does get a 10 for character, because it's a lot of character for everybody. Like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Charming is an idiot, but like, that makes sense.
Here's your title.
I gave 9 for personal. So this one gets a 27 out of 30. Super good score. I very much enjoyed it. It's a good time. But apparently, so that last scene with Hook and Ariel / Zelina was really long. Oh wait, before I say that, again, when asked about being slapped, Colin asked, I was delighted. I love it. That's what he said about being slapped constantly. The final scene with Hook, Ariel, Zelina, whatever. Apparently, it was a long scene. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. It's a long scene. Written down, it was about 5.5 pages long, apparently, which is that's 6 minutes. Like, usually, like, drama scripts usually a page. Usually, it's about a page a minute, give or take. So, but like, it's one of those things that they did cut it down slightly, but it's one of those scenes that, like, that's always said, like, it's too long. You got to cut out so much of it. You'll never pull it off. But between Colin and JoAnna and Bex, it's a great scene. It's slow, but it works. It's needed. Like, you see Hook's vulnerability in that scene. You can see him for once being completely honest. And then you get that flip of this whole thing is, while it feels like a standalone episode, a standalone adventure, it is actually part of the greater plot of what they're trying to tell. And it's such a good flip, and it's such a good way to pull all of this together. And they did talk on the writer's room about having him say that he loves Emma out loud. That's a big deal. Like, getting him to say that and corrupt it. Like she says, like, use it, when you invoke the name of your love in a selfish plea for redemption, I'm able to do this. Like, she's like, you're tarnishing your love a little bit. And it's just, that was the key they felt to breaking this whole story. And it just does so well. But like, they said the thing with the tennis match and Zelina having her inflated sense of self-worth. But Colin said that he likes that Hook is very confident because he's found a way with other villains. Rumple hasn't been able to kill him yet. I call him a cockroach for a reason. He doesn't have any magical powers of his own. He does in fact have one hand, but he manages to survive. And Colin's response was like, yeah, and he only has one hand and an endless supply of eyeliner.
Like, he's just written for me, okay? I mean, he likes being slapped. He wears guyliner. He's got the accent. Like, he's written for me. I don't know what to do.
It's the he likes being slapped included in all of that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But,
here all week.
Yeah. But apparently in that very last shot, they did talk a lot about, like, which one you end on. Do you end on the family, or do you end on Hook off by himself? And ultimately, ended last shot is Hook before the episode ends. But they were just joking about how it is a little creepy that, he's off across the street spying on them in the spyglass, and like, they're very engaged in their meal. They have no idea that I'm watching them with a telescope.
He's pining.
It's a little bit of pining, but I had my moment of, after all is, like, we've seen Regina at other things, but ultimately, this is the first time Regina officially has been invited to dinner.
Oh, that's true.
Like, she's been to the other, like, she can't, like, Emma invited her to their welcome back party, but was she wanted by everybody there? Not really. She was there for their welcome back thing after Neverland, but again, was she wanted? Not entirely. This is the first time they're like, we're having dinner and Regina is here and included in our plans. And I'm like, this is good for her. She's got the in with the family.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 7, Episode 5, Large Brother, Where Fart Thou? And Episode 6, The Quirkducers. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link for more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.